Hello, I'm Claire from Wild Ginger Films and I'm going to show you how to pack all of the mandatory kit for your long distance race, ultra or multi-day event into a 10 litre pack like this. I'll usually start thinking about what gear I'm likely to take about a month before the race. And then if it is a really big race, like the Cape Wrath Ultra, which I'm doing next week, it's 250 miles in 8 days across the Scottish Highlands. I will start packing a week before for big multi-day races like that, 30-40 mile ultras the day before. So a week before, I'm gathering all my kit because I want to just check that I've got it all, and if I haven't, if I've forgotten something or I need a new version of something, just gives me that little bit extra time to source it on the internet or go out to the shops and buy it, so I'm not scrabbling around last minute and panicking. It also just gives you a few days to just have a think about your choices. It just, sometimes subconsciously in your sleep, things work themselves out. So it's a week before the Cape Wrath Ultra, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to fit all the mandatory kit into this pack. It's 10 litres in size, and I'm going to start, first of all, with something that you have to take, a survival bag, and hopefully you won't be needing this. So that's going to go in first. And it's going to go in right at the bottom of the pack. Now I know that it's there, so should I need it, I'm just going to pull the rest of the items out of the pack and dig right down to the bottom to get that survival bag out. The next thing I'm going to put into the main compartment of this bag is my extra layer and my waterproof trousers. So I keep them in a dry bag. It's really important to keep your thermal extra layer in a dry bag. It's important to keep it dry. So for that, I'm using a Berghaus Hypertherm Vapourlight jacket. It's reversible, so one side is less windproof than the other side. So I just scrunch that up really small. You don't have to fold it, just scrunch it. And whack that in a dry bag. It doesn't matter if the dry bag's bigger than the amount of kit that you've got. It's useful in case you want to put other stuff in there later. And then for waterproof trousers, I'm taking the OMM Kamleika trousers. I use these in the Lake District, so they're a bit muddy. So I'm going to wrap them up with the mud on the inside so that they don't dirty my middle layer. So they go in the dry bag, like so. I don't usually bother doing them up like this and pushing all the air out and clipping them round, just because I find that when you're with gloves and you're trying to get to an insulating layer, you've probably got cold hands. So I just squeeze the air out like that, and I'll just give it a couple of turns, and that's usually waterproof enough. But we'll see when I get to Scotland. So that goes next into the bag, and that's nice because that's against your back, but it's nice and soft. If you ever really like the look of any of the gear that I'm using in these videos, then just click show more in the film description below, because in there are links to all of the items that I've used or tested, and what these are affiliate links. So if you click on those and you eventually do decide to buy the item, then that will just give me a small percentage of the sale. So if you do go down that road, then thank you very much, because that's how you're going to support this channel continuing, more athletes interviewed, more advice on the channel, and more gear tests as well. So just thank you very much if you decide to click on those affiliate links in the description below and purchase something that I've been talking about on here. I should have mentioned before that I will always take the time to write out the mandatory kit list if it's a really long race. If it's a day race, I wouldn't bother doing this, but for a long week-long race like the Cape Wrath Ultra, I'll actually physically write it all out, and I'll probably weigh it all as well. And then I'll write out what's going to be in my drop bag, what's exactly got to be in the blister kit, and I just find that writing it out just means that I've fully taken in what I've got to take take on that race, because if you get to the start line and they check your stuff and you haven't got, say, your head torch or something like that, it's really tricky to source something that's lightweight and not too expensive on the day. So I'll just write it out there, and then I've got a list of things to buy and things to order there. So it just makes me feel organised. So after you've got your thermal top and your waterproof trousers in the main compartment here, the next thing I would put in is a waterproof jacket. So I'm taking the Rab Atmos jacket with me. It's not a running jacket, and I don't know how many other people like to operate in this way. Tell me in the comments below if you're one of these people as well, or what you like to do. But I like to take a really large waterproof jacket rather than a really tight figure hugging one, and that's because I like to be able to get it on really easily. So if you've got wet hands, you can struggle to get your hands through the sleeves of a tight jacket. You can also give this jacket to another person who might be bigger than you if it's an emergency situation. And the other thing about this jacket is just it's a hiking jacket really, so I know that it's going to be bomb proof. It's not a lightweight jacket. I've used jackets like that before, and you just don't get that same weather protection. They're more like emergency jackets, and this is a full-on Scottish, rainy, windy, whatever the weather's going to throw at me in Scotland, I'm going to feel safe wearing this jacket. The other reason why I'll take a bigger jacket than my size is because if you've got the pack on already and then you take the waterproof out of the pack, I'll do it now. So if you've got the pack on already and you grab your waterproof from inside that opening of the pack and you pull it out and you put it on, I can actually get this waterproof on over my jacket, and I can even do it up. It is a bit tight, but I can do that, and that's just a really quick way of making sure you stay dry and warmer for longer. And it might just be a passing shower, so you might not be faffed to take the backpack off and put it all back on again, and you have to do that if you're wearing a small figure hugging jacket. So that's my reasoning for wearing a larger jacket than my size. So I will just fold that up. You could fold it up into its hood if you like. I usually fold it up so that all the outer layer, the outer shell, is on the outside. And I don't, controversially, put my waterproof jacket into a dry bag because I figure that if it's raining, you're going to want to put it on. So you don't really need it to be in a dry bag, because if it's raining, then you're wearing it and it's a waterproof. So that it goes. And it goes right into the top compartment here, because I can put this on and I can have this backpack on and I can just reach in here very quickly and just pull it out without too much bother and without stopping, which is going to be crucial for me on the Cape Wrath Ultra, because my foot injury means that I'm not going to be able to run at my usual pace. So those are the key items that are going to go in the main compartment. The Raidlight pack's got these clips here just to give that opening, that top opening, a little bit of security there. And it's also got the hydration bladder Velcro, which I'm just going to put over here, there, just to make sure the jacket won't be popping out on the move. Then we're going to come to the front pockets and the water bottle pockets. On my race, 500 millilitres of water minimum is required, but I don't know how hot it's going to be, so I'm probably going to take 2 500 millilitre water bottles and just fill them to whatever extent I feel is appropriate on the day. So I've got the carrying capacity of 1 litre of water. So this Raidlight pack actually does come with 2 600 millilitre water bottles, but I find them a little bit hard to get into the water bottle pockets. I also find that I don't necessarily need these long pipes coming out of the end of them. So I am going to make another controversial decision and use a bit of a cocktail of backpacks, because I really like these Salomon bottles. Since Salomon redesigned their bottles with this sort of rocket ending to them, they slide dead easily into a pack like that. That's so much easier compared to the other ones. And so that's a litre of water there gone into my pack. Then I put the water in first because it's really easy to fill up these pockets and then you can't get the water bottle down and then you have to take everything out. So the water is what goes in next. Then we're going to put a windproof somewhere. So I'll probably start off wearing this. I'm a big fan of wearing 3/4 length leggings, a t-shirt of some kind, or a long top if it's a cold day, and then I'll wear a windproof over the top. And usually after about 10 minutes, if it's not really cold and windy, I will get rid of this and I'll try to take it off on the move. So I'll try to probably stash it in a small side pocket like this one. And that's the beauty of a windproof jacket. They're so light. This is about 85 or 100 grams, and you can really stash them into a pocket like that while you're moving. And that, just taking windproof just means that the amount of warmth you get compared to the weight is just brilliant. I'm just a massive advocate for wearing a windproof. They're just nothing to carry, nothing to pack, and they give you so much protection against the wind. They make you so much warmer. So that's the next item. And I put that on the right hand side because that's my dominant hand and I find it easier to get things to on the right hand side. The next thing that I might not need access to during the day, but if I were to need access to it, I definitely want to know where it was and I wouldn't want to be scrabbling around for it. That is my torch. So the lightest torch that I that I can comfortably actually run with and navigate with and see the trail with is this Petzl Tika Plus here. And so I'm going to pop that in a side pocket there. And that's also hopefully not going to get switched on by accident. And some people like to take out one of the batteries and turn it around just so that it doesn't get switched on by accident. I'm a fan of doing that for travel, but on the actual day when you're running, it's unlikely, hopefully, that button would be pressed. So I would keep the batteries in the right order so that you don't have the faff, like if you've got cold hands, because I mean, something's gone wrong if you've got to get your torch out, so you don't want to be faffing around with batteries at the same time. Then also for Cape Wrath Ultra, you've got to take some spare batteries. So I should have put them in first actually, because hopefully you're not going to need those, but again, you want to know where they are if you do. And then the next item that I'm going to put in this side pocket is my compass, and that's going to go at the top of it all so that I can get to that easily, because I might want to just be whipping that out and putting it back in again as I check my route along the way. So that's that side pocket done, and there's probably space in there, if I'm not using the compass for a while, for a bit of food. So you could dig a couple of bars even in there. And I just probably should mention I've been sent these from Velo Forte. It's an Italian company and it's 100% natural, and they're really nice. I really like them. I'm a big fan of using real food most of the time, but sometimes for convenience and weight and calories, it's nice to get a bar that actually tastes good. And these have used these Italian spices, which, this one's red berries, almonds and pistachios. They've got a chocolatey one as well, and then there's citrus fruits, almonds and honey, and they've got nuts in and dates, and they're gluten-free, lactose-free and everything free except taste free. So those are really yummy, and I'm going to really enjoy eating these on the Cape Wrath Ultra. I will make another video about food, and if you're wondering why I've decided to use this Raidlight Responsiv 10 pack as well, there is another video about that as well, so just check that out here. So the location of the next item might change actually as I run and using the pack every day and just work out different ways of putting things. Like, this isn't set in stone, all of this. If you're finding something's not working, then change it along the way on day 3. You'd be mad not to. So the next bit of kit is the first aid kit. It is a mandatory first aid kit. There's certain items in there like blister plasters, a bandage, some dressings, some safety pins, £50 for a taxi if you get scuppered, And there's a pen that will write on any surface. It's called a Chinograph pen, or a waterproof pen. So that's just to make any notes in case of emergency. So this, I might put this in under the waterproof actually, but for the moment I'm just going to keep it out here because it's definitely going to get checked at the mandatory check that the race organiser will do. So I'm just going to put it in here for ease of access at the moment, and I can't actually access this part of the bag on the move, so that is redundant space. Oh, I should also mention that it's in a waterproof plastic bag of its own, and I'll probably put it in a smaller waterproof bag as well, because there's no point in having blister plasters if they're completely wet. Then the pen can just jam down the side there. Because if you do want this, you don't want it at the bottom of your bag, really. Then, very importantly, gloves and hat. So these will definitely be in a dry bag, because the last thing you want is, if it's cold and wet and miserable and you need to get your extra gloves on, you do not want them to be wet, neither do you want this hat to be soggy. So these just go in a dry bag, and I like to have these in a fairly accessible place, so probably we'll put these in the left hand pocket next to the water bottle. And these pockets are just so stretchy, you really can just swish anything in there. So that is going in there. And then again, I won't do these up actually and clip them, because cold and wet, last thing you want to do is be struggling to open clips and things. So I'll just put that in there, just give it a couple of twists and fold it over and put it in there, and that should be fine. Now that's starting to look a little bit odd, but you could squish this lot down and put it in the top here as well. So just see what works for you over the course of the multi-day race. Then map, definitely will want to be looking at the map very often, so I'll fold that into a map that I can just thumb and hold there, and that will pop into this side pocket here. And then finally, probably 2 bars will not be enough for me for like a 10-hour day on the hill. So we've got some more food here. I am going to be doing a food video as well, so when that's done I'll also link to it just here, because I like to take normal food as well, but with a pack like this that's really super jammed full of stuff now, I am going to struggle a bit with putting like a whole malt loaf somewhere, so I might have to rethink that, and I'll use this pack in my food video so I can show you where I'm stashing it all. But just for the moment I'll take this map out again, and I'll just put some more bars just here, down there. You can easily fit some more bars in there because these pockets are so stretchy. And there you go. You also need a whistle, but most bags now have a whistle on the chest strap, but do just check that just in case. But this is my pack for the Cape Wrath Ultra, fully packed and ready to go. I'll go and weigh it in a minute, see how much extra stuff, see how much extra weight I'm hauling around with me. But that is my pack for the Cape Wrath Ultra, 20th of May. It's feeling good though, it feels comfortable. So that's how I would pack the mandatory kit for a long distance race or an ultra or a multi-day event. You start with what you hope you won't need, and you make sure everything that you need quickly is easily accessible in these pockets here. So that's like your food, a hat and gloves, your water, and your map and your compass. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If you've enjoyed watching this video, then please give it a like and click subscribe. It's totally free, and it just means that you won't miss out on any of my other videos. So I interview elite athletes. I've got one coming up with Scott Jurek, the ultra endurance athlete from America. I've got taste tests, there are race recce's, there's navigation tips, there's gear reviews, and I'm going to be starting a Q&A series soon as well when I get back from the Cape Wrath Ultra. I do keep saying it, but I am going to start one, I promise. I will be answering your questions, so any questions that you've got, type them below in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and hopefully I can help you out, and then I will see you out there running, having fun on the trails.